Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I call to order the meeting of the Manassas Park Governing Body for Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. First, we have approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay, my understanding is we do not have a closed session this evening. So do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Thank you. Next, please join us in a moment of silence, and Vice Mayor Mensing, would you lead us in the pledge?
Yes. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to public comment time. We have Ms. Darlene McKenzie signed up. Ms. McKenzie, could you please come to the microphone, speak directly into the microphone, state your name and address, and Ms. Connor will time you for 3 minutes.
And her husband.
My name is Darlene McKenzie.
Can you get closer?
And so
Yeah.
is Josh.
Yeah.
I live at 8925 Dahlgren Ridge Road in Manassas. I think I'm on the line.
I'm not sure that you're being picked up properly. Yeah.
Am I close? Okay.
Get
Is
as
that good?
close as you feel comfortable to do.
Okay, I'm pretty close. I have lived here for almost 6 years. 5 years have been very quiet, but I'm here to represent my neighborhood, Signal Hill Station, the townhomes, in particular 2 buildings. We are 0.16 miles from the Pet Suites dog facility, and it has been very quiet until this last spring. And the noise level is outrageous. I have called the police department on many occasions. They have been absolutely wonderful to work with. They go out, they take decibel readings, and there's nothing they can do because the decibel level is, the limit is high. It's almost there when they take it. Anyway, I have, let me get my notes straightened out here. The outdoor space that I have enjoyed in the past, there is no peaceful enjoyment of my property. The dogs bark nonstop. It's not, they bark a while and then it's quiet. They bark a while and then it's not that. They bark all day long. The police department has instructed me to start a petition in my neighborhood, which I have started, and I have that here. The Pet Suites is in a residential area. It's very disturbing, and I would like for something to be done so that my facility, my neighbors, myself, can have peaceful enjoyment of our property once again. If one of my neighbors' dogs barks in my building, say, they have to quiet the dog. So what I'm asking is for this facility, which again is in a residential neighborhood, if they would contain the noise. The outdoor space was only added last spring and opened. And if they, anyway, that is my complaint. I would love for the city council here to do something so that my neighborhood could be peaceful again.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Rick Schubert. Please state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Rick Schubert, 9217 Zachary Court. I'm here tonight to talk about taxes and the budget's coming up, and you're going to have some work to do. I know there's lines that have to be signed, and there's documents that have to be completed, and there's a lot of check boxes, right? There's a job that has to be done, and you have to get through it. If you don't notice the expression on my face tonight, I'm usually pretty polite and smiling, but I'm mad. I'm frustrated. Do you see it? Over the past 2 years, my taxes on my property have gone from $6,500 to $8,300, almost a 30% increase. The process of the tax rate is broken. It's far behind the curve. Anything less than a 25% drop is a disservice to the citizens. I don't see where that money is going. And if it's being spent at an expenditure that we can't afford in this city. We've got grandparents living with parents, living with kids, and if you think that's only because of the real estate market, you're wrong. That's my opinion, however. Also, I'd like to point out the amount you can get from a bank for a loan is tied into, and I've presented to council before on this. Most of you are not in that group that were in the past. A mortgage payment is made up of interest, principal, taxes. When you've got too much of the taxes, you don't have as much as you can afford for the house. What does that do to the market? It suppresses it. If you drop the rate, it allows the prices of the houses to decline. Okay? Forgive my tone, but I've been up here several times. I haven't come up for several years because my voice doesn't seem to be heard. But my philosophy is sound on this. Also would like to point out, out of the $3,000 mortgage payment, previously I could say $2,300 of that, $2,500 of that would go to my principal and interest. Could pay my house down faster. Well, guess what? Now, another $200 going toward taxes. I'm not going to pay my house off any faster. Where's that money going? Safety, community, prosperity. There are some good things happening here. I see a lot of good things going on in community, recreation, city center, many things. The tax rate's undermining a lot of the good things that are happening. You have to recognize that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment in the audience who has not signed up? Okay. At this point, I would like to ask Councilmember Moore to please give us a summary of the Black Excellence Expo held here in City Hall on Saturday the 10th.
We had a wonderful celebration of Black History Month here at City Hall. It was called Black Excellence Expo, and we had artisans, spoken word individuals, poetry readings, people were doing arts and crafts. There was just a collection of folks from the community, artists who presented some of their art. It was just a wonderful day. I want to thank Tony and Poppy in the library. I think that's her name, right? Yeah, she did an amazing job. And Holly and all the library staff and the city staff. But it was a wonderful day. And I think everyone had an enjoyable time. I know I did. And Councilmember Yamaya joined me, so I appreciate her presence. And it was good to see the mayor as well at the event.
Yeah, it was a great expo. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
And something to grow on for next year.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'll get bigger and better. Councilmember Hampton, do you have an update regarding Supervisor Vega's office?
I do. She did reach out back to me last week. The city manager was CC'd in, as were a number of individuals, Prince William County government. Long and short of it, Prince William County is doing a number of studies. My initial request to meet with her on the corner of Cabell and Old Centerville Road to actually do a visual, managed by walking, to really understand the issue. I'm still working on, still trying to get that secured, a date and time, so more to come. It's in progress.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for reaching out like that. Thank you. Okay, no public hearing. Moving on to number 6. Number 6 is recognition of Mr. Laszlo Palco for his outstanding service to the city of Manassas Park. Whereas the members of the governing body of the City of Manassas Park are extremely grateful for the great service and support provided by Mr. Laszlo Palko in his capacity as city manager. And whereas Mr. Palko began his employment with the city on June 19, 2017, and has worked tirelessly to strengthen all aspects of the city and to build a top-notch staff that has supported these efforts towards a more financially secure city. And whereas some of Mr. Palko's accomplishments include, but are not limited to, he turned around the city's financial position and avoided state intervention for fiscal distress by moving the city from a fund balance position of negative $1 million to a strong fund balance position of positive $16 million. He reestablished the city's credit rating from no credit rating to an AA rating from Standard & Poor's and an AA3 rating from Moody's. He addressed the worst debt spike in city history due to past borrowing by not deferring principal payments and then refinancing the debt so that debt payments went from 25% of the city budget down to 13%, with the outstanding general fund general obligation debt cut by more than half, from $160 million to $74.7 million. He secured grants for the city totaling over $40 million since bringing on both Merchant McIntyre, a consultancy, and a transportation program manager. He increased city employee pay and morale by establishing and meeting targets to reduce the pay gap for city staffers in comparison with sister cities. He achieved technological innovations with staff to fix the failed enterprise resource planning software, which enabled the city's finances to be audited using reliable data. Implemented enterprise departmental software for the police department, the fire and rescue department, and the Department of Community Development. Implemented a new payment portal that decreased fees for residents and improved user interface, and is currently replacing the city's tax, utilities, human resources, and financial software. He brought economic development to the city by recruiting developers to invest in the stagnant downtown, while also assisting the city to better position the downtown VRE parking garage, and negotiated with Park 170 and other stakeholders to enable further downtown development. He established a downtown events program, managed a resident voucher and small business grants program to help residents and restaurants during the COVID-19, and worked to bring the first ever restaurant to Park 170, which is scheduled to open in March or April of 2024. He implemented infrastructure improvements by replacing the old end-of-life city hall with a new city hall at no cost to taxpayers, repairing numerous culverts throughout the city, implementing security enhancements to all public buildings, including schools, and providing needed roof repairs at both the high school and the police station. He enhanced operational performance by ramping up code enforcement in response to community concerns. Citations increased from 200 per year to over 1,300 per year, while achieving over 95% compliance rate. Expanding police department capabilities by establishing a parking enforcement division and securing multiple grants to place a school resource officer at each school and more officers on the street. And expanding fire and rescue department capabilities by acquiring an affordable ladder truck and obtaining federal grant funding to staff the ladder truck. Now therefore be it resolved that the governing body hereby sincerely thanks Mr. Palko for his hard work and dedication, and recognizes the extraordinary efforts Mr. Palko to secure the city financially. And be it further resolved that Mr. Laszlo Palko is presented with a certificate of achievement by the governing body for his outstanding service to the city. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Thank you. And if you want to come over
Sure.
and have your picture
Picture,
taken.
picture,
I think the entire governing body should go down and begin the photo op. Are we switching or not?
Yeah, you're good.
Thank you so much, thank you.
Can I say a few words?
Oh, absolutely,
Congratulations.
I thought this was my picture. I was gonna be like, what the hell?
Just want to thank the mayor and the governing body, especially the mayor, for having brought me onto the city back in 2017. It's, along with serving in the Army, has been the greatest honor, professional honor of my life. Just like the Army, that was kind of the greatest team I ever had. This team here rivals that. Everyone that I have here in the city is just so impressive and so dedicated. This is, the greatest job I've had, and I'm honored that you guys brought me here and have allowed me to serve as long as you have. I hope I've, done the best I could to help out the city. But I couldn't have done it without the team. All these accomplishments were really a team effort with multiple people involved, and they just needed a conductor to help happen. But we've always had great talent in the city, and I think, again, the election of the mayor and the members of the governing body back in 2016 really turned the city around. And so I want to thank you all for your support over these last few years. Thank you.
Well, we thank you, and we're glad that you decided to come to Manassas Park and be a part of the Manassas Park family.
Thank you.
Because we really are a family-oriented city, and we take that very seriously. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on. Next, we have Councilmember Hampton, who has 3 updates: Community Maintenance Working Group, Keep the Park Beautiful, and 50th Anniversary Committee.
Okay.
You can roll from one to the other if you like.
Yeah, we'll
Stop
just
for
do that.
questions, yeah.
Can we pull up the PowerPoint, please, for the folks at home? We've got some exciting things planned.
Which one did you want to start with?
Oh, let's start with the Community Maintenance Working Group, and then we'll go to Keep the Park Beautiful, and then on to the 50th anniversary. Okay, so so for 2024, right now what we have in progress is developing and launching a code training. Thank you. We originally were gonna do this, what was it, Yessie, 2 years ago? And then we had to put it on the back burner for different reasons. But we're in the process of developing it right now. Our last meeting, we actually created not a timeline, but what's what I'm looking for, an outline and sort of a script. So we're gonna start easy, looking at, starting with things that happen in the spring, primarily things with weeds and grass. We're also in the process of developing a volunteer corps program, and this is for individuals that are elderly or have other disabilities that prevents them from shoveling snow, as well as doing some yard maintenance. A lot of work we have a lot of things that we have to iron out. But there are other programs like this across the nation. Back in the day, the scouts actually used to pay them, that's how they used to make their money. You pay them a little bit of dollars and they would shovel the logs for you, but that was back in the day. The other thing that we're focusing on is updating our website. It's a little bit behind the times. So we're in the process of getting all the information together. We're gonna update the term dates, as well as update the Winter Lights Extravaganza and the Halloween House of the Lights with 2024 information. We've already identified what information needs to be fixed, as well as the process of updating the forms for both of those meetings. So Sarah, that'll be coming your way before long. As well as we're gonna be moving some of the past events to the past events section, so that folks can see what we've done, but put our newer events as they come up. So that's it for Community Maintenance Working Group, and I thank the committee, once again, for their support. We've got a great group of 4 of us that are very dedicated. And now on to one of our newer committees, Keep the Park Beautiful, which is affiliate of a national organization of Keep America Beautiful. just as the first page is just the basic information, you know, of who the board members are. There's 2 city council members, myself and Councilmember Amaya, 4 residents, 2 of which also serve on the community maintenance working group. That's how the charter demands or describes it. We do have a vacancy for 1 individual, and of course, we're very indebted to Yvette. Without her, we would be rowing down a river with no oars. We do meet 7 p.m. on the 2nd Thursday of every month. In addition, at the Community Maintenance Working Group meets at 6 p.m. on the 2nd Thursday of each month. And one of our big events that we're going to kick it off this year is in a couple of weeks. It is at Brandy Station, and we're going to have a block party. This is a part of the city that has long been experiencing a lot of issues with litter and dumping, as well as other health issues, a lot of rats and things of that nature. So based at the group, we sat down, we talked, and we decided that we'd have a block party where we're going to have face painting. The high school students are going to do the face painting. They asked if I would do it, and I said, well, if you do that, everybody's going to just get a stick, and I'm going to tell a child that's a dog, it's a cat. So we got people with talent. We're going to have a DJ. We're having a clown. I believe, right? We're having a clown.
We're working on it, but yes.
We're working on a clown. And we're going to have a vendor there with food. We're not going to have a food truck. We're going to have a food table.
Cotton candy and popcorn.
Yep. So it's going to be a nice event. And we're also going to give out informational resources. We have made magnets that at a very high level describes what the city code is for trash, because that's one of the big issues there. And it's both in English and Spanish, and it'll be one of the things that we'll be handing out. We're also we're working on having other nonprofits there. So we're hoping, we realize this is not going to be a one and done to solve the issue or curb the issue there, but it is a start. It's to tell the folks there that they are part of the city, once again, making them feel, you know, that they're not neglected, and, you know, bringing it to them instead of them having to go somewhere else to get the information. So please come out between 10 and 1 p.m. on March the 2nd over in the playground. We will be there with gloves and whatever else the weather brings us that day. We also will have, at the end of March, our first stream cleanup. It's going to be at I think it's Russia Branch over there by the VRE. More to come on that. We're also going to have our annual litter cleanup in April. The exact location and date will be determined. We have a meeting this Thursday, a special meeting this Thursday, to kind of work things out for the Brandy Station as well as the rest of the year. As usual, we're going to have 2 cleanups, one in the summer, one in the fall. This really seemed to, the residents seem to appreciate it, and they come out and they wave at us. So, and we have, you know, a number of people that are just willing to come and help. So any questions on Keep the Park Beautiful? And of course, we're going to try for grants again, because we like grants. All right. And then the next one is the 50th Anniversary Committee. We had our first meeting last Thursday. This first page, or I should say the second page, is just a recap of what we agreed upon on November 8th as part of the resolution. As a reminder, there are 2 city council positions that are still vacant, but we're moving forward. You guys want to join us, please feel free. Meanwhile, we're just moving forward. We met last Thursday. We came up with a tagline: People, Place, Policy, and Progress. Actually, a fairly new resident of Manassas Park came up with that based on our discussion. So we're very thankful to Mr. Gupta for coming up with that. We identified some short-term, moderate-term, and long-term activities. The short-term right now is we're going to get a web page up. Coming to you for that, Sarah, soon. And we're going to ask residents to send any historical documents they have, past newsletters, water bills, any other city-developed correspondence, so that we can kind of build an archive and collect stories from past and current residents. For example, y'all probably didn't know this, but back in the 70s, we actually shut down some of the streets so that the kids could go sledding. I don't remember exactly where, because I wasn't allowed to, because I was small, but my brother did it. We're going to have a logo design contest based off of People, Place, Policy, and Progress. The idea is that we'll reach out to the high school students as well as residents. And then we're going to start planning the moderate and long-term activities. Some of the long-term activities that we're thinking about right now is having a celebration event for current boards and commissions and bringing in past elected officials. For those that have passed, we haven't quite figured that out. We're going to reach out to their family members and have them come in their place, but more to come. And let's see. The next page is the finances. We don't have any just yet, but it's just a reminder. There's supposed to be money in the fiscal 25 budget towards this. And then we're also going to work on sponsorships. And then as far as milestones, like I said, we just started. Right now, we just have the website creation, the logo design kickoff that we're hoping to have done, all that kicked off in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then our next steps is launching the webpage with information in the submission form, doing the outreach to current and past residents to gather all that information, launch that logo design contest, and I have our next meeting, which is on the third Thursday of every month, which is March 21st at 7 p.m. Any questions? Okay.
Good job.
Yeah, and I'd just like to thank the committee members, of course, Ms. Connor. Actually, for once, I am not the longest living resident on a committee. Or she's living here in Manassas Park, but, like I said, we also have a resident that's been here 3 years, so I'm very thankful to everybody that's, put their hands up and are helping. So thank you.
Thank you. That was very meaty reports. Thank you. Okay, moving on to 9A. 9A is consent agenda. It consists of approval of the minutes of February 6, 2024.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to, excuse me, we have no unfinished business. So moving on to new business, Signal Bay Water Park design and bid specifications and development.
Hello, hi. Good evening, Mayor and governing body members. I'm Grace Cruz with Parks and Rec, and I'm talking about Agenda Item 11A, approval of Task Order Number 7, Signal Bay Water Park Design and Bid Specification Development, specifically the selection of Bowman Consulting Group to do the work. So we were approved for $300,000 for design engineering for Signal Hill Park, but we're focusing on Signal Bay Water Park specifically because of the scope and scale of the project. The specification development is especially about the structure on the water park itself. That means guard office, bathhouse, and pump room area. To be ADA and code compliant, it's all going to have to come down and be rebuilt. So that's the goal of the design. And then in addition to that, there is an outpost feature in the center of the activity wading pool that needs to be redone. And then the safety matting at the bottoms of all the slides, and then the spray cannons to be functional. So that's kind of the scope of that project. Bowman Consulting Group came under the $300,000, so they're at $221,449.73. And we're also seeking authorization to enter into an additional future task order of up to $74,246 as presented and subject to final city attorney review. So thank you. Happy to answer questions.
Oh, thank you, Grace. That was very
Yeah.
nice. Comments or questions?
Is this something that will be completed in the off-season, or will it, do you think it'll interfere with operation in the summer?
That would be the goal, to complete an off-season, but we're just not sure depending on how quickly we can get it done. The money has to be committed this year, and then the work has to be completed in 2026, like the end of 2026. So as much as possible in off-season, but we're also prepared, unfortunately, if we have to close for a season. We'll know more after we kind of get this back.
Okay.
Is that calendar year 26 or fiscal?
Calendar.
Okay.
Any
So-
other comments or questions? Do you have a follow-up?
So a little bit more, almost 20-some months away.
Yes.
Okay.
Like math.
That's just the latest. We have to spend the cash because we're using ARPA money for this.
Yeah.
Oh.
But if they can do it quicker, then that's great. So we're hoping to be done with design this fall and then quickly turn around an RFP along with contracts for the pavilion renovation, the tennis court renovation. So kind of redoing Signal Hill Park. We'll also evaluate the lighting as well. So all that will be brought back to you all for a vote in the fall based off an RFP issuance, and then it'll depend when they can come out and do the work. We'll try to prioritize the water park first to try to knock that out before they open, and then move on to the other projects.
Okay.
But Jay has a pretty good grasp on the different projects. This is the one that we needed design help for, was the water park itself.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other?
Just
Yes,
really quick
ma'am.
question. So, if I remember correctly, this was built like in 93, 94, somewhere around there?
I want to say 96.
96? So 30, almost 30 years old. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Madam Mayor. Just a
Oh,
quick
I'm
question.
sorry.
That's
Yeah,
all right.
Councilmember Moore.
Sure. Will there be any changes to the water park as far as, will there be any slides? Or right now, the lazy river is great for the little kids, but the older kids have said they want something a little bit more exciting and interesting.
Yeah, there'll be a new outpost feature. So in the center of the wading pool, that whole like Pirates Cove area with the tunnels and like the little slides coming off of it, that'll be a full new feature that'll hopefully fit pretty well within that footprint. And we don't know exactly yet what it'll look like, but something along those lines, but it'll be completely new.
But no water slides.
I mean, there might be water slides coming off of that central structure. There are like 3 little ones there now, but nothing I would think significantly higher, just based on the footprint.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, the goal of this project was more renovation,
Yes.
not upgrades. I
Exactly.
think in the future upgrades may be considered maybe in the adjacent
Expansion.
land. Yeah, expansion.
I agree. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. The recommended motion is that the governing body approve and authorize the city manager to sign task order number 4 for Signal Bay Water Park design and bid specifications development for an amount not to exceed $221,449.73, with authorization to enter into an additional future task order of up to $74,200.46 as presented and subject to final city attorney review.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Thank you again, Grace. Thank you. Okay, moving on to 11B, that would be Park Central Streetscape Plan Implementation. Excuse me.
Good evening, Mayor Rischel, Vice Mayor Mensing, members of council, residents, staff, and guests. I'm Calvin Odell, the Director of Community Development. On January 16th, Pannoni and city staff presented Park Central Streetscape Report and Plan to the governing body. Since that time, we've been in contact with Davey Tree Services, and they have been coordinating with staff and the city attorney to present some cooperative procurement options for achieving the work. They have existing contracts with numerous jurisdictions, but the 2 in particular that applied to this job were with Arlington County and Fauquier County. The city attorney reviewed those contracts and agreed that we could use a combination of the contract with Arlington County and Fauquier County to achieve all of the goals in this plan. Davey provided their proposal and divided the work into 5 separate phases, and that was per city staff request based on governing body request that we do this in phases. And phase A would be the Park Center, or the Park 170 frontage, right in front of the retail businesses. Phase B would be the median work. And again, in the medians, we have obstructions of signage and obstructions of existing crosswalks. Phase C would be tree pruning at the theater site. Once again, those overhanging trees are obstructing pedestrian pathway signage. And then D would be the future residential development in downtown area, while E would be what is existing City Hall and the existing Park Central Plaza. The combination of A, B, C, and E, which we would intend to execute in FY24, totals $173,565.97 in Davey's proposal. The remaining work on phase D would be in FY25, and that would come out to $35,317. The total proposal from Davey Tree Service is $208,882.97, but we're only asking for the money to do the 4 phases. in FY '24 with a 10% contingency, so we're asking for approval of $190,922.57 in FY '24 out of the downtown transportation infrastructure line item in the CIP.
Thank you, Calvin. I have a quick question. Is it possible, while the tree people are here in the city, that they could take out the stumps in the median on Manassas Drive by the Carondelet intersection?
Yes.
Yeah, we'd have to ask for a change order, but it should be doable if they're mobilized. Right.
And those are in our right of way?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
we
Yeah,
cut the
there's
trees
two of them in
down.
the median.
2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, I think we could still use these writable contracts and prices, would just be in a separate agreement,
Okay.
not something that was presented in this proposal.
Right.
But I'm sure that they would be willing to extend these. We have some members of Davey Tree on the
Okay.
phone and in person here to answer any questions. I'm not sure I want to put Mr. Jastrzemski on the spot with that question.
No, totally
But if there's
understand.
any questions regarding the actual
Yeah.
proposal, there are people here from Davey to help answer those questions.
Great
Okay.
job on the proposal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It looked from the numbers, it looked like it might be $300 to $400 per stump, but I think there's only 2 or 3. Is that right?
It's
Two.
2 or
Two,
3.
just
Two.
two.
I think
Yeah,
there's
only
3.
2.
I think there's 3 now. So,
Okay. Any comments or questions?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Jastrzemski would be happy to comment if you'd like.
Okay. Can you speak directly into the microphone?
I'm John from Davey Tree. Rob is online also. He handles the landscape things. We'd be happy to look at whatever. The contracts you're writing, the Arlington contract or a cooperative agreement with, the Arlington contract is for the planting and the landscape work. The Fauquier County is for the tree services. And we decided to go those routes because they were the
Can you move?
cheapest for you. And it's in your best interest to do that from my perspective. In terms of future work, you can always write these contracts for anything within your jurisdictions.
Okay.
We'd be happy to work with you
For
on
the
that.
same price?
Oh, yes, of
Yes,
course.
okay.
It's all,
Just wanna make sure.
It's all
Yeah.
probably even lower if we're already out here doing work. We don't have to mobilize.
Yeah, I was
anything.
hoping for that.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
Questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Not of him, though, of Calvin.
Okay.
Calvin, what funds are we using? I didn't see that part of the report here. Are these ARPA?
There is a CIP line item 302 called Downtown Transportation Infrastructure.
Okay. So
And
that's
that was
budgeted.
funded to the tune of, I believe, $600,000 for FY '23. And if it was not carried over, that would be a staff error for not recommending that carryover because we just knew this was coming, so.
The other question is, what's the rationalization for not doing an RFP and doing a competitive bidding process to make sure we're getting the best price?
So these are RFPs that other jurisdictions
I know.
did, so we're writing the contract. So they've done the work for us. It's significant staff time and effort to put together a legal review as well. So we're taking advantage of the competitive procurements that other jurisdictions, usually larger jurisdictions, do for us.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have a follow-up?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Any other comment? Yes, ma'am.
And I think this is more for the folks from Davey Tree. So I know that when I've planted shrubs and trees, maybe because I don't have a green thumb, they tend not, some live, some die. What measures do you guys take to make sure that the trees that we're purchasing don't have the same fate of the things that I
Sure.
do?
Well, one of the things is the request required these all to be to really high-quality standards. All the planting stock is above grade. And our people that are trained to do the planting know how to do the planting. Most of the trees fail because they're planted improperly.
Okay.
That's usually it. Now, ideally, all the tree management, the pruning, the root work, the removals, that's all going to be done quickly so that Rob, who is online, Robert, can order the plants now so they're in a few weeks so they could be planted in March and April. So they have to be planted at the right time. There are also contingencies in the contract for routine watering. and all the trees will be planted with the right amount of fertilizer and the right soil mixes. So we do take care. There is a one-year guarantee, I believe, in the contract on these as well. Rob, can you answer that? I don't know if you can.
Yes, the installation process that would take place covers everything that John just mentioned, plus we, in the Arlington County contract, there is a watering and maintenance line item that includes, of course, a weekly or as required watering throughout the summer months typically. We also, in there is the weeding, whether it would be a shrub bed or a tree ring along that line. So it's maintained that way as well for 1 year. And then at the end of that year, all the trees are remulched at the end of the 1 year period. And we do a final walkthrough and inspection with, well, we normally be Arlington County with the city of Manassas Park. And, you know, correct any deficiencies at that time or if anything had died. And there is a 2-year program too, if you want to continue that. We have done 2 years of maintenance and watering, which really helps ensure. And typically, if you get through the first 2 years with the tree being cared for, it has a very good chance of survivability.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the catch is these are all living organisms, and they do require continuous maintenance, something that perhaps may not have happened right out here on the main street over the years. It's just the logistics of it.
Okay, thank you.
And if I can answer Councilmember Moore's question, it is ARPA funded.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's ARPA funded.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Comments or questions? Okay. Thank you, Calvin. The recommended staff motion is that the governing body approve and authorize the city manager to sign an agreement with Davey Tree Services for arborist, landscaping, and hardscaping services as presented and subject to final city attorney review.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to FY24 Budget Amendment A2.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the governing body. So the schools informed us after the budget amendment that they actually wanted to request a rollover of unspent capital funds. They showed it in their budget, but they didn't call it a request for rollover. So we clarified that with them. This is just a reminder slide. Back in December, what you guys were shown in terms of the general fund balance, about $16 million, close to really $17 million in fund balance. That was pre-audit, and that was just operating fund. With the audit process, the capital surplus also got rolled in. So in reality, this is the fund balance here. It's about $19.2 million. So that gets us to about 30% ratio, which is very robust in terms of fund balance, and it's going to allow us to do some things hopefully this budget year in terms of no longer budgeting for contributions to reserves, unless you guys want to keep doing that, but instead shifting some more of that maybe to tax rate reductions as well, because we're building this surplus a lot faster than we had, the fund balance a lot faster than we had. So this request from the schools is not going to impact, because it's not going to impact this number that you had previously been shown, what we assume to be our fund balance, because it's really coming out of the capital surplus that the schools and the city both generated, but the schools one is coming from their surplus. So I don't see it as a negative impact, but they need that to fully fund their CIP in FY24.
Questions? No? Comments? Questions? Okay. Staff recommended motion is that the governing body approve the FY24 A2 budget amendment as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next is 360 review agreement. I believe Dean's gonna give a brief explanation.
Well, I can, yeah. The governing body asked that this be done so that the 3 officers that report directly to the governing body can get an evaluation. The proposal was done through small procurement. The mayor and the HR director vetted, I believe, 3 different companies. One Digital was the one that they went with. The proposal we got from One Digital is the statement of work that you see there, and then that has become an attachment to and incorporated into the city's agreement. So what you have before you are the city agreement with the statement of work attached as an exhibit. And then presumably once this gets done and signed, it's about a 12-week process, I've been told, for them to finish everything out. The governing body would be involved in coming up with the actual questions to be asked, and then they'd formulate the process after that.
Okay. Comments or questions? Yes.
I'm just gonna make a quick comment. I'm gonna vote no on this. I think this is a waste of resources. No other jurisdiction, Northern Virginia does this, so that's my opposition to it.
If there are no comments or questions, staff recommended motion is that the governing body approve and authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with One Digital for a 360 performance review of the 3 appointed officers for an amount not to exceed $6,500 as presented, subject to final city attorney review.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
One in opposition? I'm sorry, okay. And did you also oppose?
I oppose, yes.
Okay, excuse me, 2 in opposition. Abstain? Okay, thank you. Lena, did you get the, okay. Okay, moving on to FY25 budget priority discussion.
Rank.
Okay, so good evening again. You guys have this in front of you. We're not going to finalize it tonight. I want you guys to take some time over the next couple of weeks and really look at it. The goal more tonight is to give it to you guys and really just glance at it and see if there's any clarifying kind of questions about any of these items or any items you guys feel could be consolidated. But again, the goal is not to finalize it tonight. We'll come back next meeting and we can fully discuss it, finalize it, and then do the rankings before the March 19th meeting. And then after the March 19th meeting is when I get the revenues and I finalize the budget, so I need your priorities essentially ranked before that. But we have some time to focus on this. So, I can go over this and just see kind of if there's any clarifying questions, or you guys could just, see if you guys have any questions from other members, because it's a mix of priorities coming from different members of the governing body.
And you'll email this to us, right? So we
Yeah,
can-
I already emailed it to
Okay.
you guys, yeah.
Oh, you did email?
Yeah, I did email, yep.
Mayor?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Lancel, thank you for this. So did I understand our next meeting, we will be collapsing, because some of these are repetitive?
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
if you
we
guys
will
want
be.
to email
Okay.
me before with any recommendations
Okay.
as well.
Okay, that's good.
I wasn't sure if we were
Yeah.
gonna collapse
I
tonight.
didn't- I wasn't
or-
either.
No,
Yeah.
no, just, if you feel there's
Yes.
something obvious, there's slight nuances, right?
Yes.
Right, with that's why I kept it that way.
No.
Like, maintain
Yeah.
adequate reserve levels versus contribute to reserves, right? Those are 2 slightly different things, right? One is defining what that is and saying that's what we need to maintain, right? So if we use it, we need to kind of replenish. The other one is keep contributing, keep budgeting for contributions. That's why I kind of kept it that way. But if you guys want to clarify what the actual position is over the next couple of weeks, then we can do that and kind of clean some of these up. But I tried to organize it, like you can see, economic development, there's a general economic development goal, and then there's specific areas of the city with different goals. So I tried to kind of organize it, COLAs together, pay raise together, school funding together, so the different categories. I tried to lump them in to make it easy for you guys to really consolidate different points over the next couple of weeks.
Great work.
The only thing
Thank
that
you.
jumps out at me right now is under infrastructure. The 3rd line could be omitted entirely because the 4th one is very comprehensive.
Infrastructure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's just the fourth one says, hey, do pretty much all of our infrastructure.
Right.
The first one says focus on streets,
Yeah,
right, as kind of a priority.
Oh.
That's why I kept it separate, but again, if
Okay.
you guys all agree that all those other categories of infrastructure are equally important, then I would go with the other one.
because there's a lot of uneven sidewalks too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
I think, sorry, on the infrastructure note, on the fifth line, you have a mixed with the pay increase with the traffic light. You can just take that.
So just keep the traffic light, right?
Yeah.
Or just break it into two.
I think I moved the other one.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Oh, wait, hold on. No, I think you're right.
Take this out. Separate, two separate.
X.
Yeah, right.
Two.
Thought I moved the other one. We had this one here, the closing the pay gap, but you want me to insert the other language there about the national average? I look more regional.
Put it in there, and then we can always,
Okay.
you know, through our process, if we don't want it, we'll take it out.
Where's the pay gap?
Right here, you can see.
Oh,
So there's, continue to do the best we can to close the pay gap for recruitment and retention.
No, I mean, what category?
In the
Oh, that's
original,
gonna be a balanced slicing of the pie.
Nice.
yeah, originally, Madam Mayor, originally it was in the community maintenance. It was lumped together on the second. in community
Oh,
maintenance.
infrastructure, yeah.
Sorry, infrastructure.
Okay.
The second page of infrastructure, the second
Yeah,
down.
it was part of the replace old traffic light with overhanging light, Polk and Manassas Drive, and then
That's right,
focus
yeah.
on pay raises
Yeah.
with the national
I
average.
Xed that out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Quick question,
Mhm.
related. Do we know what the projected increase in value of homes are in Northern Virginia?
Oh, Northern Virginia, I sent that a week ago for the different jurisdictions, or a couple of weeks ago to you all. It varies by jurisdiction. It depends how much they're dependent on office. But real estate homes seem to be growing in greater value the further out you go this year, right? So like Prince William, Loudoun are doing a little bit better. I suspect we're gonna be closer to the Prince William and Loudoun area in terms of just by tracking kind of monthly data, but I don't have that information until late March.
Okay, I
Yeah,
asked that
office
question.
has kind of plummeted.
Yeah,
You know, apartments, depending on the jurisdiction, even in Arlington, some of the apartment values have kind of fallen flat, which is surprising. In other areas, they're growing. So it's kind of a mixed bag in assessments all over the places, depending where you are and the type of the real estate.
yeah, I want, and thank you for the information, because I think folks get confused when we're talking about the tax rate. They think that we're raising taxes, but it's really the value of the
Yeah.
homes that,
It's just like if it's like income tax. If you get a raise, you're technically paying more money to Uncle Sam,
yeah.
but it's your taxable income has gone up, not
Right.
the actual tax rate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do we, yes.
Yeah, I think Councilmember Hampton brings up a really good point. It would be great, I'm talking to my colleagues in the dais, if we had a presentation from our assessor's office to talk about assessments. Because people have a lot of questions, I don't think they understand them. And if we can have a public forum here in our chamber about assessments and how they're calculated, I think it would be very, very helpful.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we can do that. There's specific methodologies, but the simplest way is it's the market, right? You got to track sales, and right now the market's booming, so it's market demand and supply that dictate the value of people's homes. That's the simplest thing to put it. If you don't build enough supply, then and there's still strong demand, then prices are going to skyrocket. If you build more supply than the available demand, just like inflation, then the prices will go down. And so supply has not kept up with demand in this region the last 20 years. So you've seen that increase in home values, which is good if you own that home, right? It's good for certain generations who own home, and then for younger generations, it's tough to get that first home because the market's kind of increased.
I think because of resident concerns that we've
Yes.
heard, I think it really would be a good idea to have
Sure.
the assessor, that way we have something on tape that we can point to. If someone says, why is this, why is that, we can,
Yes.
we can.
Yeah, we can
point-
certainly
point to the
survey and
video
get
and say,
questions, yeah.
Go to the video at such and such a timestamp,
Okay. All right. Sure. We can go over that. It's boring formulas though, but we'll. Yeah,
Well, we don't
can
want formulas.
I try to
We want
simplify it the way
concepts.
I
You did,
described it
you
right
did,
now.
you did, you did.
It's,
Oh, I
it's
love
demand and supply.
formulas.
Yeah.
That was never good enough.
That was perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never too late to start.
Do we want to continue collapsing this, or do we want to,
I would
No, we're
recommend
gonna
we,
do it next.
yeah, I recommend we take it home, we take a look at it,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
and
let's-
really think it
let's take
through.
it home. Okay, thank you. Okay,
So I'll send you this updated version with the change that Councilmember Javed.
Thank you.
okay, thank you. Okay, we're moving on to our second public comment time. Is there anyone who would like to make public comment? Seeing no one and hearing no one, we move on to city manager's report.
I don't have anything to report.
Okay, and we have the handouts for social services and community development. Okay. Any questions, email them to Laszlo. We have no closed meeting. Anything for the good of the city?
I do have some information. The Suhas Nadani has moved out of the city.
Oh, he has moved.
He has moved. He's at his house. He's not there
Where
anymore.
did he move to?
I don't know.
Okay.
The house is for sale. I think he's moved. I think he moved to Arizona. They told me about a year and a half ago. He was
Okay,
in Arizona.
okay. He had wanted to move to California, but
I remember that.
Yeah, do you remember that? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Moved, yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
I ran into